This open-started ring with close stitches and foot sides is a really challenge for you because you have to pay attention for a lot of little things. For this open start, I laid all the pairs parallel. So I have 3 pairs on each side, also 6 pairs in linen, white linen. You see 4 bobbins, white threads on the right, and then I chose different colors from yellow to red for the close stitch pairs inside. So first we have to fix the pairs we do not need first, that they cannot move, and I can take the active ones, they are in my direction, to start with. So I take a pin and make a move like a picot, and now I take my right hand, 2 fingers, and form a big loop, put it over the pin and pull. Now the bobbins did not change their places by doing this, so they stay on their position. We start on the right with the first stitch. With the white pairs we only do hole stitches and twist. We make foot sides on the outer, on the edges of the right and on the left. And because the distance on the right is a bit longer, we have a second twist, and inside we make 4 close stitches. So I have red one, brown, a bit darker yellow, and on the left a light yellow pair, to make a bit difference with the colors. Perhaps it helps us. And we continue only with the 4 close stitches inside, and on the right and on the left the foot sides. And we stop here at pin 15, but in front of we have to lay in the lazy loops. The special thing is here to insert the lazy loops step by step. And normally we have the lazy loop and the supporting thread, 2 threads in case of one. Here I replace a little bit the temporary pin, that the direction of pulling is more straight. Here on the left the hole stitch and twist for the foot side in the inner circle. So the special thing is here we bring in the lazy loops in steps, and they stay here only 3 stitches accompanying the normal lace thread, and then we lay out the lace thread and continue only with the lazy loop on the right hand bobbin of a pair. The double laying of the threads is in steps, in more invisibly than in the common way. Here it is now 3 stitches in front of the end when you are on pin 9, and I add a lazy loop on the right for the edge pair, and look here, our first lazy loop comes in to the yellow pair, to the left hanging pair, and also to the edge pair on the left. So the first lazy loop, and it is important, place it on the right hand bobbin of a pair, only here. The second lazy loop will be added on the second pair from the left now. So each row we add 1 more lazy loop until all the 4 hanging pairs have added this lazy loop by a lazy loop. Because we take out the lace thread after the 3 rows, finally you do not have something else but only the normal 2 threads in the point where the join is. Here now the 3rd lazy loop for the hanging pairs will be inserted. And we have a shifted arrangement of the double laying hanging threads afterwards. And this is not to be seen, it is really invisibly. Here the lazy loop is inside 3 stitches, time to cut the supporting thread and only to continue. Look, I cut the yellow thread now and continue with the violet lazy loop here. So finally you only have 2 threads in this position. The 2nd has to stay, the 3rd, and here we need the lazy loop for the last hanging pair. Now again on the right hand bobbin. So, and this is in steps from the left to the right, and we will repeat the system in the second part of this circle. So we divide the double laying threads most invisibly here. Sometimes it helps when you pull a little bit the lazy loops that they lay straight. No curves and waves, then it's a bit difficult to follow them. Here we are on the last pin on the inner circle, and we have only to work the pin number 15. Here the last will be cut. This is the 3rd pair, we cut this, but the lazy loop should stay on the last one. And here we have the last stitch on the edge of the outside. So now we lay away all the threads with bobbins totally to the right. Use the space you have. You can take a pin to mark how far you can put away the bobbins now with the threads, that we have a lot of space for the second part. This pair actually we do not need on the right, but I put it here on the right for a moment because I want to have total good view to start the next part of the circle. I undo the last stitch to look that there is no mistake. We need 2 stitches on the left and 1 stitch with the worker from the right. And when you are not sure, open and correct it again. Now it is done, it's corrected, and we can continue. And we have a long part to do until we see pin 37. So stop in front of pin 37. Until there we can continue only regular doing this ring. And then the procedure will be repeated. So we need 6 more lazy loops. Here we are. The worker pair just is in front of the red cross-stitch pair, and also here a lazy loop will be added. Here I choose a red one to show perhaps it's good, it's a goal to have the same color. Choose your colors like you want. When it is a mixture of color, perhaps do you like it, perhaps you have a special colored system, that depends on you. Here on the left hand edge I added light blue and this continues until the final. It's time to add a next lazy loop for the second pair from the left. So again, step by step, we add a lazy loop, and again after 3 stitches we take out the supporting thread and only continuing with the lazy loop on the right hand bobbin of all pairs. Here I have to lift the bobbins while pulling because the place is covered with all the other threads. You may use a piece of cloth if you want to lay it over the other threads, but I found a possibility. It's not necessary at all. But here I take a bit place while laying away the inner edge pair because this is the place we need it later on. And we continue our left part and the last part of our ring here. Time to add the third lazy loop for the hanging pairs. We are in the yellow part. Yeah, pull it that it is straight. Otherwise, sometimes it's difficult to work with. All the pairs gets lazy loop, but not the last worker pairs. They will be secured with extra stitches invisibly. No, not at the end in all situation here. This shifted arrangement forces a lot of concentration when you add the lazy loops and when it's time to cut the threads, the supporting threads, to continue only with the lazy loops on the right hand bobbin. Like here, I have to cut the supporting thread, put it out, and now continue. And only the last, here always on the right hand bobbin, I continue until the final with the lazy loop and the supporting thread. And shift the bobbins, lift the bobbins for pulling. But afterwards we can pull them in the total right direction like the circle is running, or running for the circle. So one more pin on the left, and we need to continue to the inner circle again. So always use this extra twist while doing the whole stitch and twist in these edges to stay or to keep the lazy loop staying there. So the last one on the inner circle, and now the right hand pair I can lay away very far to the inside. This will be joined with the other pair which is lying there. And now look, the active worker pair now continues to the pairs from the other side with 3 cross stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and then we lay this worker pair away. This is the securing of this active worker pair with 3 stitches, and then do it away. I lay it upwards to the inside. Now the same happens with the other white active worker. This makes 3 cross stitches from its own side to the left. It is also possible to do 4 stitches, but then you cannot cut the thread ends as short as when doing this way. Now look, we have a little open part, and always 2 threads meet frontally. Always one single and one with a lazy loop or only a lazy loop. When you noticed, always add a lazy loop on the right. Here the lazy loop is on the left, comes from the left side. I released it and I fixed the guitar string here on the right. Lazy loop is from the left and the single thread is from the right. This is the joining part here, always threading here from right to left. So the next has to be just the other way around. You have a single thread from the left and the loop from the right. So you have your threading into the right loop. The next loop has to come from the left. So it's always alternating when you did not make a mistake. When you did a mistake, it should be like a twist in this joining part. But here it's always regular, on the right a loop, on the left a single one, and with the next threads it changes. Sometimes it's difficult to find all the lazy loops with these bundles of threads. This is a bit horrible and a challenge. Look, I take a tool, my scissors, to dig it out there. So I expected it here, and therefore I think I will boring you when I show you all these pullings away. So I'm going to show you this. This will be the final, and then I continue this for myself and show you later on the result. So this was the pulling to the right. The next has to be to the left. You see, the single one comes from the right and will be pulled to the left direction. Now we skip a little bit, or I'm going to show you once again, now with a close-up. Single one is yellow from the right, and you see the double, the loop from the left. Yes, when you cut the threads, you cannot build a guitar string and take care that you do not pull away the rest of the threads. So it's a challenge to pay attention to all these different little things here. So normally I have to pull it, yes, this single thread, pull it on the left, to the left. And we have to use a lazy loop from the right and pull to the right. This was the last close stitch thread, and now we close the edge. First, take the pairs. We need to twist gradually, but open it first and twist. You see inside there are two white threads now. This cannot work. We have to use one more twist, either on the right or on the left. I chose the right hand side and twist it again, and now I take the inner ones, cut the single bobbin and release the violet loop from the right hand pair. Yes, better is to take away the outer threads. Yes, the guitar string with the right hand supporting thread, and now you have an overview and a reduction of loops here. Okay, the threading to the right and pulling to the right. That's great. The last ones, cut the single one and release a lazy loop, guitar string to the right direction. Forget it. First I dig for the loop. Okay, and here I forgot to make the guitar string, but it runs also in this case. But now I pull this to the right, look, and you see it is important. Pull always the threads in the direction they go. So, and I have to sort all the threads now before I'm going to show you how to close the inner edge. Here I'm going to show you I have finished the inner circle, and here I put away the threads a little bit that you have a view how the way it looks like. Look, the worker pair from the outside I pulled to the inside, and the worker pair from the inside went to the outside. Here, these are the threads from the inner circle. Pull all the threads strong and firmly, and then you can cut.